of the world, the U.S. men try to stretch it out to 3-0. The Golden Boys are on a roll. Ow! And more boxing from the Olympic Sports Complex. Look out! Knock it out!
Television proudly presents the 1986 Goodwill Games from Moscow and from Madrid. Brought to you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Moscow for our daytime coverage of the Goodwill Games of 1986. We have had something interesting athletically every single day, and I'm sure today is not going to be an exception. Nick Charles, we're loaded once again.
We are. It's another day and another opportunity, Bob, to watch the best volleyball team in the world. The U.S. men are favored to win the gold medal. So far, they've zipped easily through their matches. Today, a chance for the U.S. to flex its collective muscle when they play Czechoslovakia. We'll also leave the Russian Republic and take you to the Latvian resort city of Jurmala and to tennis. It's an all-American final in women's play. Also, we'll see the splendid Soviet clay court specialist Andrei Cheskanov gun for the gold medal on the men's side. And here in Moscow, we'll show you the sport of team handball. The U.S. is new to this game, but already playing it well. We'll see the United States men face their sternest test yet, the Soviets. But first, men's volleyball. And Bob, you have to like U.S. coach Marv Dunphy for his honesty anyway. He readily says, we're the best in the world.
It's looking like they are. They have not lost even a single game in their record so far. They are facing a tough Czechoslovakian team, and we might remind the American team, and I'm sure they're as well aware of it as we are, or even better so, that there are two other undefeated games going into today's play, two other undefeated teams, the Soviet Union and France. So it's going to be tough, but the U.S. men are on a roll in volleyball, and we'll be getting to the U.S. Czechoslovakian game right after this. There are two divisions. The Soviet Union and France have locked up the top two spots in Group A, but they'll be playing later today to determine who's first and second as they go into medal round play. However, in Group B, the United States has locked up a spot with their undefeated record of 2-0 so far. Czechoslovakia and Japan and Bulgaria all still have a shot at getting that second spot. So this is a very critical game for Czechoslovakia today as they meet the United States. Let's go now to the volleyball venue for men's volleyball with Leandra Riley and Mike O'Hara.
Hello once again, and welcome to the final round of match play for the United States. From here, the United States will advance to the medal round, and Mike O'Hara, we can say that with certainty, because even though they still have to play Czechoslovakia, and that match is coming up for you, they've been undefeated, so they're in the medal round for sure.
That's right. The motivation is much greater on the part of the Czechs, because if they lose, they're out. Japan is in. But the question to my mind, the United States is the best team in the world. They're playing extremely well. The question is, will they preserve their undefeated status? They're 6-0, as are the Soviets. I'd like to see them continue with 3 straight here.
All right, that could very well happen. It's the United States against Czechoslovakia coming up right now. The United States is on the right side of your screen. Czechoslovakia is on the left wearing red. The USA is in white. And as you see Steve Timmons hopping up and down to warm up, Dusty Dvorak will execute the first serve to get this match underway.
The Americans look very confident out there. They've played well so far this tournament.
And that is off the fingers of the USA, side out for Czechoslovakia.
The Czechs at 6'5" per man against the United States at 6'4". They're big and strong. And block, you can see right there.
Take that, Pat Powers.
Their big men are Caleb, number 3, and Barbarka, number 12, and Kretsky, number 10.
And a quick 2 points are on the scoreboard. Powers going up. He sees the triple block, and again, he hits into it, but the block was deflected out of bounds. Side out for the USA.
Here's that big wall. This is what they're going to make their living on, is the good block and the big hit. They will not outquick the United States. The United States will try to outquick them.
Doug Partee serving for the U.S. Well, the U.S. players called it out, but the linesman called it in, and that's the guy who counts. Side out, Czechoslovakia. Jirochrechki, number 12 in red, the server. Still up. Good solo block by Powers, but the ball actually never went over the net, so it's side out. And the USA will try to put some points on the scoreboard with Dave Saunders back to serve.
David Saunders.
So far, Czech offense, very smooth. First pass is impeccable, and their attack is strong. Doug Partee has some big shoes to fill out here. Steve Salmons had a relapse on his back spasms that he suffered about a week ago, and will not play in this match and possibly not in the entire tournament. 6'5" Doug Partee has the opportunity to fill those shoes as middle blocker on this team. Number 5.
Timmins into the block. Nice up by Kirai, but they're going to call a net violation against Czechoslovakia. And the USA has put their first point on the scorecard. This is Pat Powers serving.
He's been very effective by serving this far off the court.
Yuri Salma going back to serve for Czechoslovakia.
Here it is, the block on the United States side, netting and having some trouble, making some errors here. A little bit shaky start.
Kirai sends it down the line. And it comes back out of bounds.
Carton Kirai, bread and butter man for the United States. They go to him when they need a point. Number 15.
Steve Timmins going to serve.
Handball. Сделать коллапс.
Timmins.
And that time Timmins hit from the backcourt behind the 10-foot line. Normally those are bread and butter for him. He's got the sore hand, got some stitches in his fingers, and he flinched when he hit that ball. Doug Partee, there's the big man filling in for Steve Salmons. Let's see what he can do out there. Looking good so far.
Charles Curry. Miroslav Rajski.
Again, Partee for that quick set, and that's what's been effective so far in this game for the Americans.
Dusty Dvorak going back to serve. It is 1 serving 3.
Assistant coach Gary Sato spotted the fact that the middle blocker on the Czech team does not move very quickly to their left, so they're going to try to exploit that this whole match.
Nice up. Let's see if Dvorak can get it over. What a set from out of position. Gee whiz.
Beautiful play.
That was a great play.
And
starting with Karai's save to Dvorak's set.
And Pat Powers unleashes. You know, he hit the ball as hard as he could instead of trying to keep it safe and in the court. Nice play. Right on the line. Great set by Karts-Kirai and Sando ready to hit that ball.
We're tied at 3. The USA against Czechoslovakia, the first game of a 5-game match.
Setter reached over the net to play that ball, and that's a foul. Suddenly the United States serving tough, starting to get into this game.
4-3.
3-4.
The score is 3-4.
Saunders.
The hammer. Fastest arm swing out there. Number 2, Dave Saunders from Palisades High.
Member of the national team since 1982.
Nice down the line shot by Pat Powers.
Incidentally, both Dave Saunders and Pat Powers were part of the 1984 Olympic gold medal team in Los Angeles. On the 12-man roster, there are 6 Olympians still active. That was a gift from Czechoslovakia. That serve was going out.
Quick play. Steve Timmons up there, ready to hit.
Steven
Dustin
Timmons.
Dvorak shoots that quick set up there. Steve already up in the air. Bang, down it goes. Timeout called by the Czechs.
From Central Stadium's smaller arenas, the USA has now jumped to a 7-3 lead over Czechoslovakia in their first game. For Czechoslovakia, this is do or die time. If the Czechs can beat the United States, they will go into the medal round, as will the USA through the pool configurations. If Czechoslovakia should lose this match, they are out of the tournament.
Here's Yuri Rybnicek going up at 6-3 and pounding that ball through the hole.
For serving 7. Through all of our projections, Michael O'Hara, we predict a USA-Soviet Union showdown for the gold medal. That's, again, our subjective projections.
No question that the best 2 teams in the tournament are the United States and the Soviet Union, as it figured on paper before this tournament started. The United States, the premier team right now. The Soviet Union has been the perennial champions over the years. Definitely the New York Yankees of volleyball.
The surprises for you in this tournament, are there any, or did everybody expect pretty much as you predicted?
Well, the Czechs were the 3rd best team in the world in 1985, placing 3rd in the World Cup in Japan, and I expected them to win more games and more matches than they have. The United States coach was very fearful that they would awaken against the United States, so it'll be interesting to see whether they can keep them down.
Again, it does not matter for the United States, since they are undefeated so far in volleyball competition in their pool. Whether they win or lose this match, they are in the medal round, based on their 2-0 record so far.
Steve Timmons, very hungry up there. He is a very admirable player to watch. Big Red really wants that ball in the air. He loves those sets, loves to have those setters come to him. Buys Dusty Dvorak, the quarterback of the team, steak dinners along the year just so he'll be nice to him. Great save by Dave Saunders.
Well executed dink by Denik Caleb, number 3 for Czechoslovakia.
Caleb has been carrying his team through this whole tournament.
At 6 feet 8 inches, that's an easy load. He's pretty big.
Yeah, they go to him in the backcourt as well as the front court, and he hits a good ball behind the 10-foot line.
For serving 7. Powers.
But there's the man that hits the best. He and Timmons both are the 2 of the best in the world, if not the best, at hitting from behind that 10-foot line. And they're both in the backcourt now, so they'll probably go to that. Dusty Dvorak, the setter, is in the front court, so he only has 2 hitters to go to in the front court. Here's the man that Coach Dunphy was worried about, Cyril Kretsky, at 6'6". He's the bread and butter guy for that team, along with Caleb.
Nice jump service. Dvorak sending it over in 2. Illegal hit called against Czechoslovakia, side out.
That time Dusty dumped the ball in the second play, so number 2, Rotsky, the setter, for 6'2" setter for the Czechs, tried to do the same thing, got caught.
The ball falls between Timmons and Kirai, side out Czechoslovakia.
That's Caleb hitting from the backcourt, as he does so well. They'll use that quite often.
Kretsky. Saunders.
Ooh.
Oh, the triple block shoved it down his throat.
That time there was no deception. Everybody in the park knew where the set was going, and the big three-man block is up there and roof.
5 serving 7 into the net, or under the net.
Not even close.
Would have been a good tennis serve. But this is volleyball, and on we go. 7 serving 5, Dusty Dvorak back for the United States. One more hit for the U.S. Powers will take it, and he goes over the block. Did the blockers touch it? They say no. Side out.
Pat Powers, in addition to being 6'5", has real long arms, so he gets up there and reaches and goes over that block. It's just a question of lots of rest on the ball to make it come in the court.
Section option goes to Dave Saunders, and they're going to say that was out of bounds.
Dave had a nice cutback down the line, but he just missed the line, and suddenly the Czechs are alive, 6-7. Back they come.
Dvorak going out to Powers, into the block, and it takes a dance along the net and falls on the ground on the USA side, and this game is tied at 7, and the crowd comes to life.
Czechs are the underdogs here.
That service was just barely out, but that's all that matters. As the flag goes up, it's a side out.
Karts Kirai plays that so well. He's the best passer in the world today.
And the soft touch spike works for Czechoslovakia. And they will try to go ahead as our score remains 7-7. Joe Kretsky, number 12. Saunders into the block, and no one's there to back him up. Points for Czechoslovakia, 8-7.
United States calling timeout. They're going to the X-play quite often. That's where they have 2 options on the same side of the center, and they're going to the second man, and the Czechs have read that play because they're blocking him steadily.
Okay, you're watching the best team in the world in men's volleyball, the U.S., playing Czechoslovakia tonight, heading for an imminent collision, it seems, in the gold medal game against the Soviets. A lot more of that game to come, but first, let me remind you of what's coming up tonight. Figure skating continues. In fact, it concludes, and the big winner, those of us who get to watch. No judging, so it's nice and free and easy and adventuresome. We'll have world champions for you, Debbie Thomas and Brian Boitano, and others, and they'll really cut loose with the accent on a lot of creativity. Also coming up, men's gymnastics, the individual apparatus finals. We'll see a lot of originality there. So coming up on prime time, the accent on plenty of precision plus personality. More men's volleyball after this. Stay with us from Moscow.
Czechoslovakia serving. The United States down by 1. Timmons puts it away for a side out for the USA in game number 1 in a best-of-5 match.
U.S. continues to make that quick play work. The first man up usually gets through. Second man not so good. And the high sets not so good.
Let's see what adjustments the USA made during those timeouts. Kirai to Powers. Goes over the block. Nice up by Partey. Powers off balance. Nice hit. Dvorak couldn't get a piece of it.
Kept that ball alive forever. Nice playing defensively on both sides. We got a dogfight here. Czechs move ahead 8-7.
Gary Riednicek. Timmons, yes.
Thank goodness for the quick stuff.
I don't think his hand hurts as much when it hits the ground.
That's right.
Seems to smart a little more when it hits the block.
He sure nurses it, though, between plays.
He's got a couple of stitches in it from a beach game that he had played back in the States. And the stitches are still physically in his hand, so every time he smacks the ball, it does hurt.
A lot of these players come off the beaches, so when they get some time off, they try to play. He was playing in the Zuma beach tournament, a big one, and tried to block and got his hand cut.
Kirai hits effectively off the block to send it out of bounds. Side out for the USA.
Here it is. The block is there. No deception on this play. There's 2 big men up there, but Karts does what he does so well, and that is to use the block, hit off of it, out of bounds.
Powers misses all blockers, side out.
Pat Powers hitting the nice ball, went for the line and missed it.
Excellent jump service by Caleb. Kirai knows so effectively how to use that block. He smacked that into that triple wall 2 or 3 times, and they sent it out of bounds.
He has the best vertical jump of the team. It's over 40 inches, and he can do it from a standing start, which is really valuable.
That's out. Nobody touched it. And the game is tied once more at 8. Kretsky, number 12. Miroslav Brodsky with an excellent serve. 9-8. Net violation is called. Side out for the USA.
United States goes back to serve, losing 8-9. They're trying to protect a 6-game winning streak. They've won every game that they've played here.
That's true. They've not only won their matches, but they have won every game. They have not yet lost to anyone.
Back to 9-9. Dusty Dvorak serving extremely well, getting that Czech team to not pass the ball quite so well, and therefore the offense doesn't work.
Around the block, set out for Czechoslovakia.
Dvorak has that left arm, and it's a little tougher to block. As you can see, the block is there, but he goes right past him and down.
Dvorak got the Powers. That was out. Oh, they're going to stay off the block. Point. We're tied. Pat Powers does the job.
Pat is so graceful out there, and here he goes up. He gets well over the block, and he's been doing every time. It's just been a question of whether he's hitting in the court and whether they're digging him. Ooh. That's the perfect set for Sando. He's waiting for it. The bad pass. It comes up. There's no block up there, and Sando finds. He almost got it dug back at him.
Powers coming over free. Nope. They're going to try to put it down. Powers.
Oh, second option, and it works well. The United States team is awfully good at transition. They go from defense to offense so quickly, and boy, before the defense can get up there, they put the ball away.
Our score, 12-10. Czechoslovakia calls a timeout.
The score is 10-12.
The United States is up by 2 and in possession of the service. They've had somewhat of a rally and could close the door if they can hang on to their momentum right here. Miscommunication after the block, side out Czechoslovakia.
Here the block gets a piece, and Dusty swings at it but can't control it.
Substitution for the United States. Troy Timmons comes into the game. Troy Tanner, rather, number 7. He's a youngster who's still in college, playing at Pepperdine. Also subbing For Czechoslovakia, coming into the game is Helmut Jamka, number 11. They're bringing him in to serve.
Tanner, an excellent backcourt player and a good all-round player as well.
And they serve in his direction, but Dave Saunders takes it side out. What valuable experience this is for Troy Tanner to get into an international tournament of this caliber at such a young age.
At Pepperdine, he's a star quarterback or setter for the team, and here he has to hit because there's so many good setters around.
Касание сетки у игрока команды Чехословакии. Net touch.
13-10.
Block.
Off the block, another fine hit by Denick Caleb.
Caleb reaches high. Only one-man block up there, and he eats him alive.
Powers.
Czechs continue to serve every ball away from Karch-Kurai. There are only two men back there passing, and the other is Dave Saunders. So far, Dave has passed the ball well.
As we get to game point, each player has their little ritual that they do before the serve, and Pat Powers holds the ball and almost puts a little whammy on it with his right hand. Watch the little posture he takes right before he serves.
He's trying to make that ball wiggle a little bit as it comes over.
Watch him point it. There's the whammy.
Great serve.
Oh, side out.
Pat never did get back to the court. Ball was down before he could return. He's serving so deep away. Here it is. The ball goes up over the block and down.
Bob Stavertlik coming in, Powers coming out.
Substitution USA team, number 4 enters.
Another excellent defensive player coming in for Pat Powers, who is predominantly offensive.
Simmons gets it back for the USA, and once again, we are at game point.
Команде Соединенных Штатов Америки играет Роберт Партий.
Coming into the game for the USA, number 5, Doug Partee. He'll be in for the front row.
Nice
That was
play.
effective. It's closed the door, and our score 15-10. USA wins this first game.
Partee comes back into the game, and right away they go to him on the quick play, which has been working all game, and down it goes for the game.
USA team.
The U.S. men's volleyball team looking unbeatable at this moment. Like a locomotive running downhill, a team on the uptick, a very good team that's on the uptick. I don't know who can stop them. Two teams that might have the best chance would be the Soviet Union or France. By the way, the volleyball championship game, when it gets down to that, we don't know the exact pairings yet, would come your way prime time on Saturday night. The American team handball team has done much better than expected. They're going to be in action also a little bit later today on our coverage, so we have a lot of Goodwill Games coverage coming your way later in the day. Right now, though, we want to explore the city of Moscow just a little bit more. In this city, there is one very old street that can tell you about as much about Soviet history as it can about the latest trends in Moscow. Paul Ryden has the story.
This is Arbat Street, but most everyone calls it the Arbat. It's trendy, all right. A mile-long mall, the only one in Moscow that doesn't permit cars. The street dates back to the 16th century in the reign of Ivan the Terrible. Now, there's a guy in need of a press agent. But these days, its shop windows issue a siren song to consumers. Under the watchful gaze of these ageless Russian writers, history and commercialism have decided to call it a truce. Picture the Arbat as Moscow's answer to Faneuil Hall in Boston, a place where yums, young upwardly mobile Muscovites, can see themselves in the glass-fronted store windows and shop for everything from food to furs. It's a graduate school for browsing. One of the swanky new shops on the street is located in Building 51. The video salon is one of 5 in Moscow. There are some 25 video rental stores in all of the Soviet Union, spread through 15 cities. Not exactly home video mania yet, but things should pick up pretty soon. Last year, the Soviets started manufacturing their own video playback machines. Of course, before that, things were a little sleepy here. For 10 months, the salon was open before it was possible to buy video machines of any kind in Moscow. Now that's a state plan for you. The salon lists about 145 titles. At the top of the charts are 2 cartoon features that just fly off the shelf, according to the manager. Managers are always saying things like that. This one's called Hey, Wait a Minute, and it's very much like the Roadrunner, Russian style. About 1/4 of the inventory here is devoted to the lives of well-known Soviet writers. The list also contains foreign language tapes and a Charles Bronson film. Rambo is still a ways off. Even if you don't have a video cassette machine, you're welcome at the video salon in Arbat. After all, only about 15,000 people own machines in Moscow. For many workers, the cost of a machine is equal to about half a year's salary. Still, you can bet there's a long line for VCRs, but that's part of the fun at the Arbat. It's hard to tell the haves from the have-nots. For the Goodwill Games, I'm Paul Ryden.
Well, Moscow has been an interesting adventure for all of us. Paul has been all about the city, and you and I got a chance to do it for a couple of weeks. You have any particular impressions, anything that's you're going to last with you for a long time?
Oh, well, first of all, the metro, no graffiti. I still can't get over that. Stained glass windows in the metro. There's nothing like that again. Chandeliers, and it all works, and it's always on time. That's number one. That street, the Arbat's fascinating to me. The other thing, if you get a chance to visit a Soviet home, perhaps. I went to a party the other day, and the people behind their own doors are really different. They were playing Michael Jackson and Bruce Springsteen and a few other things you don't normally see on the corner. So that was fascinating, Bob. What about you?
I think my most fun has been talking with and dealing with actual Soviet citizens on the streets, which really comes most of the time when you ride the metro, the subway. I was coming back to work from the U.S. ambassador's house on a July 4th party and couldn't find a taxi. And as is a custom here, it happens a lot, not with just foreigners, but with regular citizens too. People with cars will just simply stop on the street and pick you up. They're not afraid of it, and it's something that's accepted. And a gentleman who's a high school physics professor picked me up. He spoke some English, had been teaching physics here in high school for several years. And when we finished, I said, "May I pay you for the ride?" And he says, "Oh, no, 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 no." I says, "May I give you a Goodwill Games pen?" And he was very happy. He said he'd been looking for a good ballpoint pen with a lot of ink in it for a while.
That is a premium here.
And I felt a real success that we were able to talk to each other. He could speak English much better than I could Russian.
No, you're kidding.
A lot better.
We have noticed that, Bob.
I didn't know how to say spasiba for the ride, though. Thank you. Anyway, we'll go back to volleyball now. The United States won the first game, and they are on the way. They have not lost a game yet, as a matter of fact, and they are on the way to second game. Let's go back to the U.S. Czechoslovakia volleyball game.
We are continuing with our coverage of game number 2. Czechoslovakia serving against the United States. Right now, the United States is ahead in the score, 8-2. The USA also. So this is the second game of our match, and the USA is definitely in control. Off the block, side out.
Kritsky continues to hit well for the Czechs, hitting from behind the 10-foot line.
Coming into the game for Czechoslovakia is Premislav Blaha, 6 feet 8 inches tall, so they're bringing in some big guns for the front row.
He played extremely well for them in the last 2 matches.
Another service error for Czechoslovakia.
Kartskirai getting a hand on that ball, but down it goes. Picture play. It's very good serve. Bad pass. Dusty bumps the ball into the air, and Timmons is just licking his chops waiting to pound that ball.
Nice up by Dusty. Oh. Pat Powers, when he bumped it backwards, set a little too close to the net. There you see it.
Ball was a perfect set, but for the wrong team.
2 serving 8. Saunders goes right into the block, and it's the point for Czechoslovakia.
That time, no deception. Everybody knowing where it's going, and they're right there lined up to get him.
Miroslav Radski serving. Doug Partee tries his luck at the block and doesn't get through it.
Dusty's gone over his head 2 times, and 2 times the roof has been up. Let's see what he does this time.
4 serving 8.
He has Simmons in the backcourt if he needs to go to him.
Pat Powers gives a great angle, but Czechoslovakia is ready. Still live. Pat Powers again. Soft touches it. Oh, what a dive. Dusty scrambling. Powers takes it. Oh, it was pretty far away from the net.
He'd have been better off counting that ball, going for it. Timeout called by the United States.
And they should. Czechoslovakia is roaring back. It's 5 serving 8. 5 serving 8. Czechoslovakia in red on the right side of your screen. The USA in blue on the left. And they're calling the United States in the net. So it is a point for Czechoslovakia. That one found the ground. Pat Powers.
Pat saw a little real estate over there that was unguarded and tucked it in.
Powers.
Oh, nobody home. That's manna from heaven. No block up there. And here it is. Look at that. All alone by the telephone. Pam.
9-6. Partee serving. Straight up by Kirai. Pat Powers into a triple block. Back to Powers again. Over the triple block.
Czechs coming up with everything.
Oh, second option.
Nice play.
Dave Saunders. Good fake, though, by Timmons.
And then Dvorak setting that ball extremely well. Fooled the block. Ten serving 6. Game number 2. That time, 3-man block waiting for him, and they got him. He tried that sharp cut, and they just waved right at him. No deception. Got to do better with that pass so that they can go to all the hitters.
Przemysl Blaha, number 7 for Czechoslovakia, will serve. His team trails by 4 points, and they must win this match if Czechoslovakia is to get into the medal round. By virtue of their standing, the United States is already in the medal round. Substitution for Czechoslovakia. Nikisa is in the game, number 4. Triple block, USA side out. We look at Dave Saunders. Troy Tanner has entered the game for the USA. A little bit of scramble on Czechoslovakia's side. Hart Karai taking advantage of their confusion.
Right, one-on-one. Karts is going to win that one. Here he goes up, sees that block, hits right past him.
Barborka back in the game for Czechoslovakia. He is number 10. Przemysl Blaha is leaving the game, number 7. Barborka 6'6", Blaha 6'8", so they're sacrificing a little bit of height. Off the block, side out.
Cyril Kretsky continues to hit the ball well at 6'6".
Coming into the game for Czechoslovakia, Josef Novotny, number 5. And he's going to pull out Cyril Kretsky. I always think that's so tough for you to come off the bench and serve, especially in a critical situation. Your team is down. It's a do-or-die time.
It really is. You almost have to keep it safe. And he did.
Steve Timmons. It's still up. One more hit for Czechoslovakia. Into the net. Nikiska.
This is the big boy, too. He's 6'8", and he's a potential horse. The Coach Dunphy really worried about him because when he gets hot, he's really unbeatable.
Bob Severtlik is coming in for the USA. Pat Powers will come out.
That's the ball they like to go to. Nikiska. Branislav Nikiska. Here he goes. Only one man near him. Good deception for the Czechs.
Yuri Rybnicek serving for Czechoslovakia. Timmons with the softest touch on a full-arm swing I've ever seen.
Either soft touch or he missed the ball. Hit it with his fingers instead of his palm.
That was intentional. He told me that he does it often.
I liked it.
Doug Partee going in. Troy Tanner coming out.
Substitution USA team.
11-6.
Caleb. Stroking that ball well. The big arm, and he hits it before the block can get up there.
Yuri Sumek going in the game for Czechoslovakia. Nikiska coming out.
Substitution Czechoslovakia team. Number 13 enters.
Doug Partee back in the game and playing well. He's been the big blocker for him, too. Look at that quick arm. Nice play.
Arch Kurai serving for the United States. Oh.
They hate to see Caleb go into the back row because they've been going to him awfully regularly, and he delivers again. They're setting him quickly, and the U.S. block just isn't getting up there in time.
Cyril Kretsky back in for Czechoslovakia.
Substitution Slovakia team. Number 12 enters.
Jump serve. Very good. A point.
Severtlik in the backcourt now, doing some of the passing along with Dave Saunders, Karch Kirai. Severtlik and Kirai are lookalikes. They could be brothers.
Nice up by Severtlik. Timmons. Now that was a three-part play that was just executed beautifully. Nice pass, nice set, clobber kill.
Timmons roaring out there. Sando, three-man block up there.
He found a hole in the dike.
Sando snuck one through. Here it is. Look at that block. Looks solid, but nope. Sieve.
12 serving 7. Over the triple block and finds the baseline. Flat out.
Caleb hitting with great consistency. A bad pass, bad set, and Caleb saves them. U.S. missing some opportunities. But at 12-7, playing pretty darn well, Leandra.
Severtlik goes over the triple block. It comes back and out of bounds, side out.
U.S. team over there talking, watching, waiting to the last minute to let it go. Good fundamentals. Never assume that ball's going out until it does.
USA ready for the dink. Dave Saunders on the other side.
Good play. Dusty looking like he was going forward, setting ahead of him, all of a sudden setting behind him.
The United States has the service and the lead in this second game against Czechoslovakia. The USA won game number 1, 15-10, and now they lead in game number 2, 13-7.
Nice wall by Severtlik.
Make that 14-7, and we are at game points once again for the United States.
Saunders, Powers, and Timmons all have 5 kills each in this game 2. Trying to keep their streak. This would be the 8th 8th game in a row that they've won if they win it.
Block was out of bounds off the U.S. hands, so side out Czechoslovakia. Barborka back to serve.
Bob Stavertlik coming off the bench and looking good out there.
His hands are pretty wrapped up.
Yeah, it looks like he has a bad little finger. A lot of times in blocking, you'll catch that little finger. Oh, nice play. For the game, bread and butter man, Hart Kirai puts the ball away, and the United States wins the second game, 15-7.
So the United States takes a 2-0 lead in this best-of-5 match with Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia, if they lose the next game, they're out of the competition.
And our coverage of the Goodwill Games continues. We have another exciting day planned for you tomorrow from here in Moscow. And along with Nick Charles, let's take a look at what's coming up tomorrow on the calendar for the Goodwill Games. First of all, men's basketball, Nick, goes to Madrid. The semifinals, I like to call them the Final Four.
That's exactly right. And there was some doubt whether the United States would be there, Bob. Last night, David Robinson from Navy really asserted himself. And once again, the U.S. goes into the Final Four, as you put it, I think braced for some good action. I had my doubts about them. Now I know that they belong. Whether they could win it, I don't know. The Soviets still look to be the best team.
And the U.S. will play Brazil first. They'll have to get past them. Boxing, of course, tomorrow, and we'll continue with our yachting coverage. Yachting from Tallinn Bay on the Baltic Sea. Women's gymnastics gets underway. Team finals. The men's United States team, men's team, did not do well. The women have higher hopes, but they are also up against a tough road.
That's right. And the Soviets, once again, rule the world with gymnastics. It really has returned, it seems, to the Soviet Union. They are so deep, Bob, and it's so interesting to see how they start them. We think we start them young in our country. They really scan the surface and find the right ones at a very ripe young age.
The judokas are in town. Judo begins tomorrow. Also, team handball. We've talked about the American team that's done so very well, but the United States women's team was decimated by the Defense Department ban on 3 of the athletes, including the goalkeepers,
right.
And that really made a lot of difference, and they are 0-3 and really struggling.
That's right. Sam Jones, as they call her, is the leading, she is very exciting to watch, the leading goal scorer for the team handball, women's team handball. She's from America, but again, the Americans have not won. Interesting how the men have caught on rather quickly. This is a mature bunch who has, they just lost to the Soviet Union, but they have played competitive and surprised a lot of people.
So we've got a lot coming your way tomorrow. We have a lot more coverage of volleyball coming up right now as we go back to our volleyball venue with Leandra Riley, Mike O'Hara.
Our teams have changed sides. The United States is now on the right side of your screen. Czechoslovakia is on the left. In case you are just joining us, I'm Leandra Riley along with Michael O'Hara. We are at Lenin Central Stadium, smaller arena, where our coverage of the Savine Cup, men's international volleyball, is part of these Goodwill Games. This is the third match of the tournament for the United States. They are now 2-0 in the standings. And against Czechoslovakia, they are ahead 2-0. So Czechoslovakia really has their back against the wall. They're trying to stop Japan from getting into the medal round.
Out of bounds by the Czechs, and the United States, for the first time in this match, have gotten the lead early. Before they've started out a little bit slow and then powered their way through. Now very confident. The Americans serving well, passing well, blocking well.
And hitting well was Barborka, side out Czechoslovakia. The United States won the first game 15-10, the second game 15-7. If Czechoslovakia can win this game and the next two, they'll win the match and eliminate Japan from the medal play. The United States has such a great overall record that they're automatically in the medal play after their victory yesterday.
Nice play by the Czechs. Good digs back there. Put the ball off the block and out of bounds. 1-2.
Powers.
Pat Powers. What a great name for a spiker, and he's the best in the world.
You almost have to chuckle at Denick Caleb's face. He's the man on the floor there. Because he knew there was no way he could get a piece of that. 2-1. Nice hustle by Czechoslovakia.
Ball is all over the place. Czechs having trouble controlling it. Doug Partee given a starting assignment because of Steve Salmon's back spasm problem. Taking advantage of it and playing extremely well.
The dink is well executed. No one is there to back up the block. Shot out for Czechoslovakia.
Here it is. Nice soft touch. Block comes down to the floor. Dusty Dvorak making a good dive on that play, getting the floor wet, so they're having to mop it up.
Ball never over the net, side out.
Americans and Czechs going with the soft stuff, and the ball wasn't enough to be hit.
Oh, that one just made it over. Dave Saunders. Side out.
Once again, Caleb delivers. 6 foot 8 inch, and he is steady and strong.
Kirai.
Just kind of plays with him. First play, sets a little bit close, and he just dinks it in, gets it back, and then this time the set's right where he wants it. He pounds it off the blocks and out of bounds. Always in control. Karts Kirai, one of the finest players in the world, if not the finest.
Mike, I have said that the United States has already advanced to the medal round by virtue of their outstanding records, being undefeated so far, but they are going to face France because France and the Soviet Union are both surviving from the other pool. How do you feel a USA-France showdown will transpire?
That will be a dogfight. They just played recently on a tour through the United States, and the United States beat them 5 straight matches, but they were all hard fought, and of course they were playing at home, which is a tremendous advantage. So that'll be a dogfight.
And of course, if the United States should survive past France, it will be
the big bad bears from the Soviet Union.
Right.
And that will be a war, believe me. That'll be one of the great confrontations in volleyball. Nice hit from the back row. That was Cyril Kretsky. He and Caleb doing all the hitting for the team just about, and doing it well.
Floor wipe called by the United States.
This is the time of the match when everybody's perspiring, and every time you hit that floor, it's going to get wet. And these are tremendous athletes. Everybody wants to make sure that they're safe.
Timmons. Ooh.
Flying through the air from the backcourt. Steve Timmons nailing that ball. Big red.
Now watch this. This is in slow motion. And watch how fast the ball comes. Woo.
Poetry and grace. What a lovely play. Right back at ya.
Baborek.
Pavel Baborka, 6 foot 6 inch lefty. Nice play. The big 3-man block was lined up, ready for him, and he just tapped it over. Way to watch that ball. Here it is. Nobody home. United States confident and in control of this match at 3-1, third game. They'd like to make their streak 9-0 if they can. Perfect record for this tournament.
They're certainly on their way to that. Dusty Dvorak serving. 3-1. Pat Powers. From the backcourt. It's effective. Danik Caleb.
Pat tried some soft stuff and hit it a little bit too deep, so they ate it up. Opportunistic.
Powers from the right side, Saunders rather, from the right side.
Keep in mind, Leander, that this is the third best team in the world. Here it comes, and two-man block can't get to them. This team finished in 1985 right behind the Soviet Union second and the United States first. So we're talking about a team that should be awfully tough to play, and the United States is keeping right on top of them, keep them from getting into their stride, gaining momentum, and they want to win this third game and go home and rest.
Cyril Kretsky serving. Out of bounds, side out USA. Ryan Timmons blocking. Timmons and Powers blocking, getting a piece of it side out.
Caleb continues to hit that ball with skill. Not much of a set either.
Too long, side out.
Crowd tried to get the Czechs a little excited out there, and the ball almost hit that back line.
Maybe got too excited.
Heart started to pump.
There's the whammy from Powers. Once again, Czechoslovakia with a chance to put some points on the board.
Both teams siding out extremely well here. The score has not changed for about 5 minutes.
Yuri Samik serving. Too long.
Two missed serves in a row.
There's a certain flatness that seems to be out there, too. I mean, even though they're siding out well, nothing exciting has happened in a few plays. Now that was exciting. Side out.
The United States team is the walking wounded, in addition to Steve Salmons not being able to play because of back spasms. Dusty Dvorak has a very sore wrist. Steve Timmons has stitches in his right hand, the one he uses to hammer that ball with. And Pat Powers became ill a couple of days ago from a bad lunch. So they look pretty good for a team that's half the members of the team are hurting a little bit.
Plus, we've noticed on the bench that Bob Stavertlich's hand is taped up quite excessively. He's either strained or sprained one of his fingers.
Jeff Stork is coming off a bad knee injury. We watched him play the Cubans at Palo Alto in Stanford about 3 months ago, and he had to be taken out and hasn't played until the last 2 weeks as a result of a bad knee.
Yeah, I wonder what they'd look like if they were healthy. Saunders. Side out.
Yeah, pretty turn.
3-2's our score now. This is a rotation where the USA tends to score points when Dvorak's back to serve. But not this time.
Cyril Kretsky goes up, hits that ball through a tough block. Oh, nice set.
Saunders made a nice hit, too.
Pass was going over the net, reaches up there one-handed. Dusty Dvorak scoops it up, makes the hitter look good.
He's so good at that. Double block.
Pat Powers in the center.
Dave Saunders on his side.
Nice play. Here it is. Watch Pat come up there high, and he is ready. Bam. Down it goes.
4 serving 2. Soft touch. It's still alive. Still alive.
Not that time. Perseverance on the part of the Czech.
Cyril Kritsky.
He and Caleb play opposite one another, and each one up there gets about 60% of all the sets. Pretty hit. Caleb moves up the front row and delivers.
USA ahead by 1 point in this game against Czechoslovakia. The Czechoslovakian team has the serve, however. Not for long. Side out.
Right. Pat Powers hitting down the line. One of the nice things about the United States team is they have 5 hitters out there, and the sets are being pretty proportionate to all of them, whereas the Czechs are going predominantly to two spikers.
Once again, we see the side out. Hamid Yamka serving. Powers on the right side. It's still up. Smart move by Karai. Blocked by Timmons and Karai.
That time Caleb tried to be dainty instead of just blasting that ball. And each block really ready on that play. Yeah, Karch Karai saw the big wall up there and took a little off of it. Just kind of hit the nice soft shot and turned out for him.
Karchi trying to get a piece of it. He cannot. Side out.
Gretzky from the back row, hitting well.
3 serving 4. Overset. Caleb takes advantage of it.
That's one of the few bad passes that Dave Saunders has made. Americans passing extremely well, which is why the offense is working so well.
We're tied at 4. Karai cuts a nice sharp angle around the block to get the side out.
Nice first pass by Dave Saunders. Here it is. Nice cutback by Karch Karai.
You can see in that slow motion replay where he rolled his wrist to direct it inbounds.
He's the only player in the history of volleyball that has won an NCAA championship at UCLA, a world beach championship in beach doubles, and a gold medal in the 1984 Olympic Games. Quite an athlete. Even took second in the Superstars competition when he was invited to participate.
Only Mark Gaston of the New York Jets was better than he was. But you can see at this caliber of play what a versatile athlete you have to be. You need arm strength, you need jumping ability, you need quickness. There's just so many variables involved in this sport.
An exciting sport. The big man for the Czechs, Caleb, 6'8". They just keep going to him.
Service into the net by Denik Caleb, one of the few faults he's made in this contest.
In my opinion, you've got to go for the tough serve when you're trying to get a ball game on the board.
Oh. And an uncontested pass scores a side out for Czechoslovakia.
The old Rip Van Winkle play. Sound asleep. Nobody home. Dusty handing something back to the official. Doesn't hurt to butter up a little bit.
Service is long. Czechoslovakia is having a trouble getting the service in the game.
Dusty had it in his midsection, couldn't control it. Nicely hit ball, past the block, right into Dusty.
4-4. Game number 3. Oh, Powers hits into the block and sends it out of bounds. Side out USA.
United States controlling that ball. Dusty makes a nice set. Powers.
Nice block by Timmons. Powers with the soft touch this time.
Muscled his way off that block and out of bounds. Good play. Here it is. Let's see. The block is ready for him, and they play reach, and Powers wipes it off of him.
And that unlocks the gridlock. At 4, USA is ahead by 1 point.
the power at the net. Both of these teams are big and strong. In fact, the Czechs are an inch taller per man, but the United States controlling that ball a little bit better. 6 aces from the gold medal winning team playing of the 12 on the squad. Helps them a lot. Great experience.
Side out Czechoslovakia.
Cyril Kretsky. Here he is. Ball is to him, and he whips it sharply cross court. Well, back to the drawing board. Jamka coming off the net. Yeah. Ball might be a little bit of wet after being dug a couple times.
Or his palms might be. And they get it right back. Czechoslovakia in earlier rounds already defeated Japan and then lost to Bulgaria. And this is their 3rd match in the round-robin competition.
What a great match against the Japanese, because they lost 2, were beaten badly, came back, struggled to win the 3rd, struggled to win the 4th, and the 5th game was 16-14. Really a fine match toward the end.
Ironically, if Czechoslovakia were to win the next 3 games of this match, hence win the match, Czechoslovakia would eliminate Japan from the medal round. But right now, that does not appear likely. Net serve, not out.
Net point serving.
So Jamka, after gloving a ball that he tried to set, misses on the serve. Such things lead to the bench.
And again, we see a side out for Czechoslovakia.
Here it is. Nice tap shot. The soft stuff seems to be working pretty well right now. And a lot of balls have been hit by Dusty Dvorak, and he gets a little bit of a piece of it, but not enough to control it.
Information for journalists. After the match at the press center, there will be a press conference.
We're waiting for a floor wipe.
And team captains.
Yuri Samek, number 13 for Czechoslovakia, is serving. And another time we see a service error. That's the 5th one in this game alone. Kurai goes right through the block.
The other side of that coin, Leandra, is that the United States is not only not serving out of the court, but they're serving extremely well. The old yours shot. Everybody expects the other one to play it, and the key there is to call for it. Anybody call for it and step up and take it.
There is a small but loyal following here at Lennon Central Stadium, smaller arena, as they chant USA. And this isn't just a floor wiping. I think it's a floor washing that's going on out there as they look for some wet spots. It's so crucial near that 10-foot spike line because that's the takeoff for a lot of offense and defensive action. 4 serving 6, Czechoslovakia in red, the USA in navy blue, and this is game 3 of the match as we have a signal for another floor wipe.
As the match has gone on, the Czechs seem to be relying more and more on the quick sets, and that seems to be working for them. They're holding their own here, whereas earlier the United States was blocking the heck out of them.
Number 3 is Denik Caleb. He is serving for Czechoslovakia.
Doug Partee missing that a little bit, but hit it well enough to tuck it into the backcourt. Side out.
Karch Karai serving. Simmons getting it up. Karai setting Saunders. Karai setting Saunders again.
Got the rhythm.
That's like an instant replay. Still up. Dvorak tips it deep. Off the block, Timmons there. He scrambled. Saunders going up. And this time the block comes back out of bounds.
Dave Saunders breathing heavily. He hit 3 balls in a row, and this is the one that he pays off. But there's sets from the backcourt. The first one was terrible. He just barely got to. The second one was better, and the third one was perfect. Home free.
7-4. Saunders on a solo block.
Mano a mano. Dave Saunders doing a job out there. Look at this one-man block. He's there. Nice playing. Sando.
And Czechoslovakia takes a timeout. They're trailing by 4.
Portions of the night.
We're down to the finals in women's tennis, and we're going to show you some of the highlights of that. It was an all-American final. First of all, let's reorient you about the location, the venue for our tennis. It's in a place called Yermala, about 500 miles northwest of Moscow. Yermala is a small resort city on the Gulf of Riga, near the capital of Latvia, Riga, and it's about 500 miles from here. It's a beautiful city, and it's played at the Daugava Tennis Complex. Latvia, the second largest of the Baltic republics in the Soviet Union. Now let's take a look at how the women got to where they are here in the finals. First of all, the semifinals. Carolyn Kuhlman from Southern Cal defeated Larissa Savchenko of the Soviet Union, who had been the #1 seed in the tournament. Carolyn Kuhlman had been #4. Beverly Bowes of the United States defeated Svetlana Parkhomenko of the Soviet Union, who, by the way, is the doubles partner of Savchenko. They are ranked among the best doubles teams in the world. So the 2 American singles players defeated Savchenko and Parkhomenko to make to the finals, an all-American finals. Just a note about who those girls are. Carolyn Kuhlman is 20 years old. She's at Southern Cal. She lives in Lakeside Park, Kentucky. Beverly Bowes is from Lubbock, Texas, goes to the University of Texas, #1 in singles there. She's 21, #3 in the ICTA last year. Carolyn Kuhlman was ranked #1 in the ICTA. And now let's go to the finals. Let me tell you exactly where they are. In the first set, Carolyn Kuhlman defeated Beverly Bowes 6-4 and is leading in the second set 5-4. And let's go to Barbara Estep in Yermala for this report.
Caroline Kuhlman coming out now to serve for the match. She may be a little bit premature because they're still lining the baseline. They're putting down the chalk. This is Beverly Bowes. She'll be coming out to receive.
I think it's interesting for our American viewers to know that they still chalk lines here in Europe. In the States, we have taped down lines, but here in Latvia, they chalk, and that's the 4th time they've chalked the lines in this match.
So if you heard that funny little noise da-da-da-da-da-da in the background, that was the line being chalked.
Serving for the match, 5-4, 6-4, 5-4.
This time, let's see whether Caroline Kuhlman is going to be aggressive or whether she's going to be content to just rally with Beverly and hoping to draw an error. Well, we're going to moonball for a while now.
Tactic is to try to keep the ball deep and lull someone into hitting a short ball that you can attack. Big forehand down the line, and that draws the error by
Love 15.
Love 15.
Love 15 here, and we've just been advised that in the playoff match for 3rd place in the women's competition, Svetlana Parkhomenko of the Soviet Union, the #2 Soviet woman, has upset Larissa Savchenko. The score there, 6-3, 3-6, 7-6. They have completed 3 long sets in the time that these 2 women have played these 2 sets. So we have seen some lengthy and magnificent rallies, actually, on this court this afternoon.
That's true, Barbara. These girls are hitting the ball well and consistently, hard, and the games have been tight.
And it's Love 15 here.
And
That's
another
too
winner
good.
by Beverly. Beverly will not give up easy.
Love 30 now against Caroline Kuhlman. And one other comment about the Soviet match. Larissa Savchenko, the #1 from the Soviet Union, even though she grew up on clay, really is a very aggressive player. I'm not that surprised to see that she lost to Svetlana Parkhomenko. The other thing to keep in mind is that yesterday Parkhomenko lost to Bowes 6-1, 6-1. So that gives you some idea of the quality of our women's tennis. Love 30 down now. Caroline Kuhlman serving.
jammed her. Good shot. And unforced error.
15-30 now.
Beverly had a couple opportunities to attack and come in, but I think she's just a little bit hesitant. Caroline is walking and trying to repair the court again. This is not a tactic to stall, however it could be, but here's the replay here. There's a forehand, Beverly's forehand. See, it jammed her there, and she ended up pulling the ball wide, but it went in court, and the match point continued. But there, she had a half volley to the baseline and made the error.
Okay, serving at 15-30. Serving for the match, Caroline Kuhlman from the University of Southern California. Very tight. Big forehand.
Excellent down the line. This ball's short. It's going to be an easy one. Yeah, and there's the winner by Caroline. Beverly trying to cover the open court, but there was no chance then. Caroline hitting an excellent forehand down the line to set that ball up.
And now she's even this game score at 30 all.
2 points in the match and the championship.
In your biography somewhere 20 years down the way, you want to be able to have it say, I was the first winner of the Goodwill Games.
Well, the match is not over, but it's true that Caroline is right on the brink. There's her serve. Her serve has definitely been her weakest part of her game today, but everything else has held up well. Beverly in close for the second serve. And
and a double fault.
30-40. 30-40.
Break point back for Beverly.
Excellent forehand off angle, short reply, and he's not good, and Beverly is broken back.
We talked about Parhamenko and Sevchenko having a long one. We might have a three-setter all our own.
Beverly there pounding her hip as she finished that forehand, obviously trying to get inspired, realizing that now she's back in the match.
Wait a moment, change of balls.
Change of balls. Obviously, a very interesting thing about change of balls on a play court. It can change the style of the play. Here's the replay on that last forehand as it went well wide of Caroline and no way to reply. The new balls now should add a little bit of a flavor to these next few points. The red clay generally allows a lot of slower tennis. It gets into the ball and the ball becomes very heavy. But now with the new balls, we may see a lot of fireworks in the first few points.
Bo's now serving at 4-5.
No, 5-all.
Sorry, 5-all.
Excellent winner. There's the new ball forehand. Those new balls are like little golf balls out there. For the next 5-10 points, things are going to be very wild. Good serve. Another great forehand by Bose and a roundhouse volley, and it's in.
15 all for Beverly Bose. In case you're wondering why that change of balls makes a difference, not only had the other balls been struck on numerous occasions, but also this heavy red clay, the grit does get into the nap of the ball, and they do become quite heavy.
Some players think they get to be as big as softballs in Europe. Forced error there by Caroline. She was trying to be offensive. The new balls, though, there's a tough time that you don't know when to be offensive and when not to with the new balls. Excellent forehand. And it's drawn an error.
30 all. 40-30.
The girls are really earning their points. There are being very few unforced errors here. They're being forced errors. Good quality tennis. On the line. Great lob. Tremendous forehand approach, but an unbelievable saving lob that landed only 2 inches inside the line to give her break point 5-all. That's too tough. Great serve, and what can Beverly do after that? There's that roundhouse forehand volley in the last point, and the forehand and the perfect lob.
Game Kuhlman. Kuhlman leads 6 games to 5.
So Caroline Kuhlman now again in a position to serve for the match. Beverly Bowes broken one more time, and Caroline will be regrouping on this changeover, trying to figure out how can I come back out with the concentration to wrap it up.
All for you. Tonight we'll have figure skating, and we're also taking a look at tennis. But let's recap what happened yesterday on day 11 in the inaugural Goodwill Games. Light heavyweight Harvey Richardson, who had his eye on a medal, was disqualified for a low blow. The American team protested the decision, but the protest did not bring Harvey back to the ring. In other boxing action, U.S. hopeful Michael Bent lost a 4-1 decision to Vladimir Beverly. In team handball, the U.S. men beat Iceland to clinch at least a bronze medal, the first ever for an American team handball squad. And the U.S. women lost to Hungary 21-12. They are 0-3 without their goalies. In basketball from Spain, looking at Group A competition in Oviedo, the U.S. defeated Yugoslavia 69-60. Italy beat Argentina 78-70, and Canada crunched China 95-81. In Group B action, Soviets advanced, registering a 110-101 victory over Brazil. So that's a recap of what happened yesterday. And Nick, have you been following those Soviet men's basketball scores? They've broken the 100 barrier several times. That is an exciting Soviet basketball team that we hope we'll see in the gold medal round. They are not playing like the mechanical, stiff, big, powerful teams of the Soviet past. They are smooth and slick.
Yeah, they got some speed, Bob, and they don't rely on Arvydas Sabonis. It is not a one-man show the way a lot of people believe. They are quite well-rounded, and they really have explored every facet of the game. Once again, it's not just the big guy and go pound the board. So we'll be seeing them tomorrow. And coming up on prime time when you return, figure skating. We've got the best skaters in the world.
Beautiful exhibition last night. We'll have more of it tonight. And I'll just tease a little bit of it. You're going to really see an exhibition of goodwill skating with the Soviet and American skaters. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, but it's an all-American final we've been following in women's tennis. We'll be back with more of that. So stay with us.
So Caroline Kuhlman now serving for the match.
Second time she served for the match, incidentally. First serve seems to still be wild.
Is she feeling the pressure a little bit there?
I don't know. She double faulted once that last game. That was another double fault.
Double faulted again.
I don't know if it's a pressure or not. She missed it a lot earlier. Playing it safe now.
Just out.
Unfortunate.
all. Oh, and double fault. And Beverly Bowes was standing well in, saying, if that's what you're going to throw me, I'm going to be ready for it. $15.30.
30 all.
Just out.
Unforced error again. The moment of truth is not the time to be playing too close to the lines.
We're at 30 all now, and when you say unforced error, maybe we should explain that further.
An unforced error is a ball that you could easily just play in the court, but you elect on your own behalf to try to be very aggressive.
Oh, good backhand.
And that's good forehand. A lot of grunting out there. That gives match point to Caroline Kuhlman, match and championship point. Both girls walking around collecting their thoughts now for this point.
And it'll be very interesting to see what happens on first serve on this point. Will Caroline just roll it in?
Waiting for the crowd to be quiet.
No, that answers my question.
Nervous second serve. Beverly taking an aggressive position. And the ball is out, and that's game set and match championship for Caroline Kuhlman of the United States.
6-4, 7-5.
And these two competitors have brought us a terrific match this afternoon.
Moscow, we're in the Russian Republic. Moments ago, we were in the Republic of Latvia, and you saw Caroline Kuhlman, the pride of Lakeside Park, Kentucky, and USC, beat Beverly Bowes of the United States and win the women's tennis single championship. Meanwhile, though, men's volleyball, the Americans looking invincible so far. The Czechs putting up a fight, that match near completion. For the conclusion of it, let's go back to Leander Riley and Mike O'Hara for men's volleyball.
Steve Timmons is serving for the United States. The USA enjoying a 2-0 lead over Czechoslovakia and a 3-point lead in the third game. Harty and Dvorak put up a good block. Soft touch doesn't fool Kiraev. Harty and Dvorak again, but Stvertlik brings it back into play. Timmons from out of bounds goes into the block.
Ooh, the big red delivers again.
He can do no wrong in this match.
Here it is. Nice play by Dusty. Puts it all ball where it needs to be put, and Timmons delivers. Just to show you the spread of this game on spiking, Saunders, Powers, Timmons, and Karch all has 5 kills apiece. So they've all had their shot at it, and Dusty's really mixing them up right now.
We are at game and match point. It is 14-9 as Czechoslovakia tries to bring in some fresh people. Helmut Janka back in the game for Czechoslovakia. He is wearing number 11. And Czechoslovakia is facing elimination from the Goodwill Games in the quest for the Savine Cup.
Steve Timmons looking as good as I've ever seen him play, and he's played awfully well over the years.
USA has climbed the front line. Timmons couldn't help him out. And once again, Czechoslovakia has prevented the USA from closing the door. Substitution again for Czechoslovakia. This time they're bringing in Cyril Krejci, the 6'6" power for the front row. That's over. Nice block by Dvorak. Unfortunately deflected out of bounds.
Dusty Dvorak in the Olympic Games had 11 solo stuff blocks. He was number 1 on his team in stuff blocks, mano a mano. A great blocker at 6'3".
Service into the net, and now we are at game and match point once more. Karch Kiraev will serve. Into the block. They are denied once more, side out.
By the way, Pat Powers went out, and I said he was a little ill. His folks are up in Harrison, Idaho. I want to assure them, if they're watching this, that Pat Powers is good, and he is well, and he will be back playing again tomorrow. The United States knocking on the door
14-10, game number 3. They won the first one 15-10, the second game 15-7. And now they could end the match with Dusty Dvorak serving. Dvorak gets it up. Saunders through the block. It is point and match, and the United States has eliminated Czechoslovakia for the Savin Cup. A victory of 15-10 in game number 3.
Sando goes up, puts that ball away, and they maintain their win streak of 9 straight games.
So the next match for the United States will be in the semifinals. They will meet the 2 survivors from the Soviet Union's pool. Most likely this is France. France and the Soviet Union coming out of that pool, with the United States and most likely Japan coming out of this pool. For Michael O'Hara, I'm Leandra Riley. Congratulations to the United States and their advancement in the finals towards the Savin Cup. From London Central Stadium, so long, everyone.
Posner is a Soviet spokesman and journalist who works for Radio Moscow. Posner is well known in America. Born in France, he grew up in New York City, but has lived here in the Soviet Union since after World War II. Recently, though, Posner made his first visit back to America, and our Moscow correspondent Stuart Lurie fills us in on what happened.
Thanks, Nick. Vladimir Posner may be better known to Americans than any Soviet citizen against Mikhail Gorbachev or Andrei Gromyko. In recent years, Posner has become a regular spokesman for his country on American television, in large part because he sounds so American. Until he was 15, he lived as the child of an affluent family in New York City. Here in Moscow, he also enjoys affluence. I visited him in his home recently, and I asked him about his privileges.
Stuart, you shock me. You really do.
Me too.
You really do. Okay. I enjoy no special privileges. So in that sense, I don't think I'm a member of any elite at all. I consider myself to be a member of the elite in the life I've had and the look I've had and the job I do. But I'm not a high-standing party member. I'm not a high-ranking government official. I'm a journalist who's relatively well-known, and that's it. I don't have a chauffeur in a car, as you may have noticed. I drive my little Lotta around. I don't own a dacha. If you saw the place I rent about 20 kilometers from Moscow, you would believe me. It's just a little shack. The apartment I have here, we published in the paper an ad that we were exchanging a 3-room apartment and 1 room for a 4-room apartment. We got this. This is an old house by Moscow standards. It was built in 1890, and it belonged to a lady called the Baroness von Meck, who was very famous in Russian history. She helped Tchaikovsky a lot with her money. If you look at the ceilings, see, this is typical of old housing, very high ceilings, very airy. And this I found buried in the snow, not far from Moscow, this incredible piece of work, all of it handmade, and you just got a wonderful, warm feeling to it, and I just love to sit and look at it. I do open it up once in a while to get the books, but... Now, also in this room is Russian, Soviet, and American. I mean, if you look at, for instance, take this quilt. My wife was given this when she was in America, in North Carolina. A family, I think 8 or 9 families participated in doing this, what I call a piece of art. And it's a reminder of America and the kind of feelings that do exist on a human level. Now, this bookcase is basically only English language books because all of my Russian language books are upstairs. If you look at this, you'll find that it's a hodgepodge of all kinds of different books. Now, some of my favorites. Incidentally, I found some of these in Moscow. Let me show you this. This is the complete works of Byron, okay? Published in 1837 with beautiful engravings. It's a wonderful book. And I bought it for 50 rubles many years ago because like this bookcase, people weren't interested in those days in this type of book. My favorite authors, a lot of them are here. First of all the Elizabethan poets. And I guess my favorite poet, John Donne, whom I've translated into Russian. Very tough. Just to show you that I'm a man of simple tastes, The Three Musketeers remains one of my favorite books. This is the dining room. Now, well, I guess I'll start with the furniture, because I love this furniture, all of it. It all belongs to one period. It's called the Alexander period, which is between 1790 and 1820. Again, this is hard to believe, but most of this stuff was thrown out by people. This, I think it's a beautiful piece. The proportions are just great. I found this thrown out in a yard. Now, it didn't look like this when I found it, but that's where it comes from. This sofa, I found in Leningrad. I bought it, but for a price that is just ridiculous. And it's an incredible piece of work. You can see that it's bent. It was split right here, broken in two, put back together again by craftsmen. And this is about the oldest piece I have. It's about 1790. And again, found in Moscow by someone who just didn't want it, wanted something nice and modern. What I love about this furniture is that you can see the character of the person who made it. It's an individual piece, and it doesn't mean anything to me in terms of money, but it means a lot in terms of the work, the love that went into creating this. So this is where our friends come. We sit at this table, 12 chairs usually, and into the wee early morning hours, talk. And that's one of the things that people in this country do a lot. That's just getting together and talk about all kinds of things, passionately, with humor, sometimes with anger. This is where my friends really congregate.
Extremely few Soviets lived Posner's good life, of course. Most lived in very cramped and poorly constructed apartments. 20% of the people of Moscow, in fact, still live in communal apartments where they share kitchens and bathrooms with up to 5 other families, Nick.
Stuart, in a way, this resembled what we have in America as a lifestyle, as the rich and famous type of exhibition. But Posner is certainly famous. He claims he isn't rich, but does he enjoy a celebrity status, so to speak? Yeah. Interesting.
He enjoys great celebrity status now in the Soviet Union because he has become a celebrity in the United States. Increasingly, they are showing on Soviet television programming that Posner does with, for example, Phil Donahue.
Right. Okay, Stuart Lurie, we will be hearing more from you from Moscow, our man in Moscow, where you've been here, what, 3 years or so?
3.5.
You're headed back to Washington very soon.
Yes, I am.
We're headed back to boxing when we come back, so stay with us from Moscow. Welcome back to Moscow, and the countdown in boxing continues. Coming up next, the 139-pound light welterweight class, Stanley Longstreet of Detroit against the Venezuelan Engels Pedroza. This is just about 10 minutes away. In fact, for 5 kopecks, we could take you there. It's 2 stops down in the metro. But through the magic of television, let's instead take you right now to the Olympic Sports Complex with Skip Carey and Paul Horning.
Okay, from the USA, Stanley Longstreet, a light welterweight, 139-pound limit. He will oppose Venezuela's Engels Pedroza.
And we might be going uphill a little bit here, Skip. Pedroza won the silver medal at the World Championships as a lightweight. In fact, both boxers are moving up from the lightweight division to light welterweight, 139.
Longstreet, of course, in the blue boxing outfit. Pedroza in red. Much action to this point.
Well, we got Stanley Longstreet. He's 20 years old, Skip, 5'10", from Detroit. In fact, he lives on the same street as Steve McCrory, who won a gold in the Olympics.
too much action yet in round one. We have 2 minutes left. There's a good right-hand lead by Longstreet.
Kind of feeling each other out here early in the first round, halfway through it, in fact.
The Pedroza jab was blocked by Longstreet. Surprisingly, Longstreet is the aggressor here. Pedroza the favorite in this fight because of his experience.
Longstreet trains at Kronk Gym in Detroit.
Boy, a lot of great fighters out there.
Foremost, Thomas Hearns,
the hitman. Our referee is Stoinio Palaparov from Bulgaria. So far, so good for Stanley Longstreet.
Now watch those combinations from Pedroza. He moves in, hits 2-3, moves back. Slap, doesn't score. That's it. You got to keep those hands moving.
I'd give the round to Longstreet, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir.
Horning and Carey scored the first round 2019 for Longstreet against Venezuela's Engels Pedroza. Of course, what Horning and Carey score doesn't really mean much.
Usually we're way off. Engels is
right
a
about
South
that.
American boxing champ from 84-85. Started boxing at the age of 6.
Longstreet is using that right early in the round. Good jab by Longstreet. Pedroza missed with a right and a left. The right hand lead didn't make it. The left did from Pedroza. Another good left by the Venezuelan fighter. Pretty good flurry there from both sides. Longstreet just keeps stalking his man.
I think in the background you can hear the ever-present call from the coaches. Get your hands up. See those hands drop?
Minute and a half left. Round two.
Well, you only have 3 rounds. 3 minutes each, and I'll tell you, you must stay active. Most important thing in this phase of it is active hands. You've got to score the points and pile them up. And Longstreet is not staying active here in the second round.
Pedroza has his right knee heavily wrapped. So far, it looks like Pedroza's round. Good left hook by Pedroza. Standing 8 count.
He's not hurt. He got a standing 8 count, but he wasn't hurt. And he comes right back. Good right. Now they're going at it. This crowd will love it. Very
Crowds
quiet.
here, just like the U.S. If you give them some action, they like it.
That's right.
They're toe-to-toe. This is a good one.
Now they're going.
Left hook again by Pedroza. Longstreet looks very tired. Again, the left hook. Another standing 8.
And 3 standing 8 counts, and it's all over. But the round will be over before that can happen, I think. There they go. Pedroza gets the best of it when they start flailing.
Round 3 has to be a big one for Longstreet to have a chance to win. Well, if Longstreet won the first round 2019, then Pedroza won the second 2018?
I would guess. I would think he's a point ahead. And he comes out. See those hands? But I tell you, he slipped.
That's a slip.
Pedroza.
Boy, he's a machine out
Quick hands. He's from San Carlos, Venezuela. 5'7". He's got a good reach. 67.5 inches.
Longstreet has taken a lot of shots, but he keeps coming. The right hand lead by Longstreet comes to nothing.
He's much busier in the clinches.
Pedroza never quits. No, he's a machine.
The hands keep moving. Quarterfinal match, light welterweight.
They're about to just forget all the finesse and go at it here.
Let's go, and they like it here.
Good lefts by Pedroza. Another left. Longstreet misses with a left jab. Pedroza busy to the body. The right hand lead right on the button by Pedroza. Longstreet with a left to right, another left. .145 left in the bout. Longstreet gets a caution for holding. Longstreet also has developed a cut. Good left hook by Pedroza, and another. The right lead by Pedroza, right on the mark.
Longstreet's getting in a few punches, but they're not half as hard and as often as Pedroza.
And the often is the important thing in
good left. Look at that.
Good left by Longstreet there. He missed with the left. The left hook right on the button by Pedroza.
Put on a good show, these two, I'll tell you. Just stand right toe-to-toe and let's go.
A minute left. Right now, you'd have to like Pedroza, though. There's a good left by Longstreet. He's got to close with a tremendous rush here, in our opinion, to win this bout.
More than a rush.
The left hook, again good for Pedroza. The left in there by Longstreet.
Half a minute.
Good left hook, Pedroza. The crowd loves it.
I tell you, Pedroza's in shape. He's been on his toes this whole 9 minutes of action. Moves, 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 and look at the punches these two have thrown. All right.
Pedroza's on the ropes, but he appears to be landing the better blows.
Boy, they're going to get a nice ovation from this crowd when this one's over.
Well, they deserve it, I'll tell you that. Good right by Longstreet.
Engels Pedroza, Venezuela.
Engels Pedroza, Venezuela.
There's your winner, Engels Pedroza, Venezuela. Stanley Longstreet fought a good fight, but Pedroza was just too tough, and he's not finished yet, is he? Put a little mustard on that hot dog. Okay, so crowd-pleasing fight won by the Venezuelan. There are now 10 American boxers left, and our boxing action really picks up tomorrow.
On Thursday, we will have several bouts as they head to the climactic finish of that one. A lot of people, if they win, will definitely assure themselves gold medals. Moving on to team handball, an Eastern European sport. In fact, it's the most popular indoor sport in Eastern Europe, second only to soccer overall. But in the U.S., virtually unknown. However, the American club has been together for quite a while now, and they have matured tremendously. As evidence here, they breezed through, were undefeated going into a match in third-round play against the acid test. They drew the Soviet Union, the class of the world. For more for the call of the action, let's go to Craig Sager and Peter Buning at the Druzhba multipurpose.
In team handball, the United States has never won a medal in world competition, with former Olympic captain Bob Jokovic. Goodwill Games. Here we're going to see the U.S. play the Soviet Union in what should be a great game.
While they're coming up against one of the best teams in the world, Soviets have been top 4 all the time, fighting against East Germany, Yugoslavia, Romania for gold, silver, and bronze. And our team will really have to show what it's made of. But I'm sure it's going to be a good game because our team is ready to play.
Just over 9 minutes of play in the first half. The United States trailing the Soviet Union 10-5, but the U.S. has the ball. Jim Buning in the corner, back out front to Steve Goss, over to Bob Jokovic, to Joe McVeigh, to Jokovic. The shot, and a goal by Jokovic.
This is one of Bob's patented shots where he goes in low under the arm of the defender and puts it up high into the corner. A great shot. Jokovic special.
Soviet Union back in full strength with 6 men. The United States, meanwhile, playing with just 5 after the penalty to Morava. Vasilev takes the shot and saved by Radoshida, but coming out to get the rebound is Gopin. Gopin cross-court pass quickly to the Soviet Union, and there is number 11, Shevkov.
And it did not count. The shot was executed. He stepped on the line while he was shooting. A very lucky break. And a great save. The first save from Radoshida was something to behold.
So the United States with the ball. Score still 10-6. Jim Buning with it, dropping it off to Schneeberger. Schneeberger back out front to Steve Goss. Goss takes the shot, and it's good. Steve Goss scoring for the United States. It is now 10-7.
A short-handed goal by Steve Goss. The Soviets, of course, suspecting delay, waiting for a delay of game call and delaying off on defense, giving Steve Goss the opportunity to score. And Steve puts it high, hard over the head of the goalie.
Soviet Union with the ball. That's Tushkin. Tushkin to Vasilev. Vasilev giving it in the corner, and a shot is good by Shevkov.
Coach Garcia has changed the defense to a 5-1 defense with Scott Carlson out front, and they have effectively stopped the shooting over the middle, jump shots over the middle, but now we have one on the wings, and the Soviet team, an experienced squad, of course, is alert to that, and they're changing their attack to a wing attack now, and again, the U.S. team will have to react.
That's the end of the penalty for Morava. He's back in the game. Goss in the corner to Buning, back to Steve Goss. Goss to Buning. Buning working with Schneeberger. And a nice pass to Joe Story to Greg Morava. Morava drops it off to Buning, and he's knocked to the ground.
This is quite an excellent game. The U.S. team is playing very, very well against this strong Soviet squad. Difference has been the circle runner play of the Soviets. Otherwise, in all other phases of the game,
Greg Morava with a score for the United States, and that makes it 11-8.
Excellent passes there. Jim Buning is very circumspect, has been finding the open man. Great shot by Greg Morava, low right corner.
So with 6.5 minutes to play here in the first half, the United States down 11-8 to the Soviet Union. But the U.S. is coming back strong. They were down 10-5. They have scored 3 of the last 4 goals. And Scott Carlson, the great defensive player for the United States, breaking that play up as well.
Yeah, he has shut down the middle.
Both teams making adjustments. The United States on defense, blocking the middle. The Soviet Union trying to get openings to the wings. That's Vasilev taking the shot, and Jokovic blocks it.
The U.S. team has come to play, playing a very, very mature game.
Soviet Union with the ball in the corner. On to the left side, that's Gopin. And we have a foul called on Buning, so the Soviet Union will start to play over. Gopin working one-on-one with Buning, and he takes the shot, but he is going to be fouled, and a penalty shot is going to be coming up for the Soviet Union, and coming in to take the penalty shot is Alexander Tushkin. So it's Tushkin against Oshida. And he fires it in the net. So Alexander Tushkin scoring. The Soviet Union now on top, 12-8.
Certainly not a case of nerves on the with Tushkin. He looks at Radoshida, pecks, and it goes clean over the head of Radoshida. He doesn't have any hands on top of his head.
12-8, less than 5 minutes to play in the first half. Steve Goss with the ball for the United States. Back out front to Greg Morava. Morava to Djakovic to Story. Back to Djakovic. Djakovic dropping it off for Buning. And it's deflected away. A look at Sam Jones, the great player for the United States in the women's ranks. Making some friends here in the Soviet Union. United States down 12-8, 4.5 minutes to play first half. The U.S. with the ball. Steve Goss drops it off to Buning. And he's fouled. The U.S. will start to play over.
And we have a change of goalie on part of the Soviets. It's number 16 in the goal right now.
That's Igor Shumak. So Shumak replaces Shipenko. And here's Gopin working with number 17, Verdenko. And we have less than 4 minutes to play now in the first half. 12-8, the Soviet Union leading the United States. And as you can see, part of this big crowd here on hand. That's Verdenko dropping it off to Tushkin. Tushkin to Vasilev. Trying to block up the middle. Morava getting over there to help the defense. The U.S. doing a good job defensively.
They have made the adjustments from the early phases of the game. Game has been even, quite even there.
A shot was taken after the whistle, so that
Yes, was 4 steps on the part of the Russian player, but however, he was being fouled at the same time. That's why they retained possession. Here's the big jump shooter.
Takes the shot, it's off the crossbar.
Great. The post help for Radoshida.
U.S. down quickly. Djakovic in the corner to Story. Story works it into Schneeberger. Back out to Morava. Less than 3 minutes to play in the first half. 12-8, the Soviet Union leading the United States. The U.S. with the ball. Joe Story back to Morava. Morava to Djakovic. Djakovic cross court to Goss. Goss working in the middle, trying to get to Schneeberger, and he was knocked to the ground as well. You can see Joe Story right there at 5'7", playing circle runner at times against the defensive players of the Soviet Union, both of which are over a foot taller than he is. As you mentioned, height isn't always the biggest asset. If you get the quickness of Joe Story.
And the hands and the shot.
Fire that ball into the corners, the low corners.
This is a very tough defense right now with the Soviet Union. They're pushing and shoving. And usually...
Buning to Goss. Goss out front to Djakovic as the United States sets up the play. Djakovic dropping it off to Steve Goss. Gets a pick from Schneeberger. Drops it off to Djakovic.
Oh, this was...
They said too much time down quickly is number 11, and he scores.
Not a very good... It was a delay of game call by the Swedish referees, which we really don't think was appropriate at all. But it was caused by the very good defense of the Soviets. And the moment the whistle blew, the Soviet defense fired the pass out for the fast break.
A minute and a half now to play in the first half. The Soviet Union back with a 5-goal lead, 13-8. Greg Morava in the corner to Joe Story. Back to Morava. Morava fires it off the crossbar with the whistle blown.
The Soviets have changed to a 4+2 defense. They are playing 4 men on the line, playing 1 man out front and sending a 2nd man out front. Right now they have number 7, number 20 out front to defend, making it very difficult for the backcourt to operate and to penetrate.
You need to have a lot of quick ball movement. Joe Story dropping it off to Greg Morava. What would you do against that 4-2?
Well, we have to break in from the wings and also from the backcourt. We have a 2-4 attack with the circle runners releasing from their circle position.
Down to the final 35 seconds of the half. Djakovic with the ball for the United States to Greg Morava in the corner to Joe Story. Back to Morava. Morava fires it high, but it was deflected by a Soviet player. I believe that was number 17, Georgy Verdadenko.
This 4-2 offense is really giving some problems for the U.S. attack, but I'm sure in the of course, time is running out in this half.
10 seconds to play in the half. Joe Story dropping it off to Schneeberger. Greg Morava with the ball for the United States. And they're giving Morava a 2-minute penalty. He's trying to get the ball as the play was running out in the first half. He was just trying to get the ball, and the Soviet player wouldn't let him have it. So finally, he just said, get out of my way. I want this play to go.
Well, it seems to me that the referee saw a push there, and in the process, Schneeberger...
And Buning fired it in at the end of the half. Will it count?
No.
They say the goal does not count. And they're arguing with the officials. Now they're going to come over to the scorer's table, but the official says no goal. So that's the end of the first half. Of the score, the Soviet Union 13, the United States 8. Goss coming in, looking for Joe Story. Takes the shot himself, but it is wide. And we're going to have a penalty shot coming up for the U.S.
This was very, very alert play on his part of Steve Goss. He saw all his receivers covered. He dribbled in and attempted the shot, was being hacked, hit on the arm, got the penalty. Joe Story is taking it.
Joe Story will take the penalty shot for the United States. And he puts it right between the legs of Igor Shumak. Joe Story with the goal for the United States. It's now 14-10.
Yes, a very quick release again by the left thigh of the by the right thigh of the goalie into the low corner.
14-10. The United States down by just 4 goals. The Soviet Union with the ball. Charging in is Verdadenko, but they're going to call a foul against the United States.
Yeah, there was an opening. If he goes straight on a man, it's a charge, but he was going for the opening.
Verdadenko to Tushkin. Tushkin in the corner to Gopin. Gopin is fouled by Goss.
Tushkin has had a hard time penetrating the U.S. defense. As tough as the U.S. has had to penetrate the Soviet defense, the Soviets don't find it easy either.
Tushkin. Tushkin gives it out front to Vasilev.
Oh, what a...
Plenty of body contact. I would think after a game as physical as this, you're going to be sore for a few days. And here you have to come back and continue the round-robin tournament.
Well, these guys are in better shape than you and I, Craig.
That guy there with all the badges, he's everywhere. He must have a season pass. Shevkov for the Soviet Union out front. That's number 11. He's got an opening, but Greg Morava knocks him to the ground, and he said he stepped over the line anyway, so would not have counted. United States with the ball. They're down 14-10, 22-28 to play in the game. Greg Morava, and he has the ball knocked away again. (14-10) with 22 minutes to play in the game.
This is a very low score for a game like this, and it reflects the excellent defense on the part of both teams.
Very rugged, strong defense. Great job, Jakovic.
It has been an excellent, it has been a clean game. I mean, even though the defense is hard and rugged, it is not, it has not, there has been no rough play as such. And no...
Bob Jakovic is our former captain of the '84 Olympic team. And he scored right there, and that makes the score 14-11. The United States has scored 3 consecutive goals. Tushkin for the Soviet Union. And he runs into Greg Morava.
Greg Morava has to be very careful. He has 2 penalties. If he has two-minute exclusions, the next one will put him out of the game for good.
Loose ball in the middle. Billy Kessler comes up with the United States. A fast break. Joe McVeigh back to Steve Goss. And Goss has the ball knocked away. The U.S., however, will remain possession of the ball.
Too bad. An excellent opportunity, but good defense on the part of the Soviets.
Morava to Jakovic. Jakovic around to the right side to Steve Goss. In the corner to Joe McVeigh. Back to Goss. Goss to Jakovic. Jakovic takes the shot, and it's good. Bob Jakovic scores, and it's now 14-12.
Excellent. Djokovic, the Russians are playing him to pass. They're giving him a little freedom, but Bob takes the ball. They're expecting the pass back, but Bob takes the shot instead and hits the inside left post.
There's Djokovic on the bench having a good time talking to Jimmy Buning.
And the Russian coach probably thinks that his goalie hasn't done such a good job. They put in back the #1 goalie who was very good in the first half.
Well, it's like in baseball, knocking out the pitcher, right? Has to give the United States some confidence. Tushkin drops it off to Vasilev. Back to Tushkin, and his shot is good. Put it in under the feet of Billy Kessler. And that makes it 15-12, the Soviet Union on top. The crowd really getting into it now, Peter.
Well,
it's a tremendous game.
It's a great game. It's a good game for the U.S., and we are not, I mean, this game is not over by a long shot.
Welcome back to Moscow, the broadcast center. We'll be going back to Druzhba Multipurpose Gym for the conclusion of that exciting game in team handball between the U.S., or match in team handball between the U.S. and the USSR. But I want to remind you tonight, coming up on prime time, what to look for. Some explosive antics on the ice, figure skating, eye-popping routines, because this is free form. There is no judging. We have the finest figure skaters in the world here, Debbie Thomas and Brian Boitano, who just won world championships respectively. Also Tiffany Chin, ice dancing, and a lot more. Men's gymnastics concludes with the individual apparatus, so be watching for that. So again, a lot of creativity on display. And coming up tomorrow night, we remind you we'll be going back to Spain, the men's semifinals, the World Basketball Championships featuring Brazil against the United States. Friday, women's gymnastics, the individual all-around, and Saturday, the finals of the men's volleyball, and the expected showdown. Inevitable conclusion seems to be the Americans against the Soviets in that. So an impressive list coming up ahead. Sunday, in fact, we will have finals from Spain, the conclusion of the men's world championships of basketball. So it's a good lineup and a lot more to cover from the Goodwill Games and from Spain. So stay with us. Team handball returns after this.
Soviet Union with the ball and the lead, 21-16. Shevkov driving in the middle, and there's a nice goal by Shevkin. So Shevkov and Shevkin working it beautifully. And number 19, the big guy, 6 feet 8 inches tall, puts it in the goal. The Soviet Union goes on top, 22-16.
The high lob pass to Shevkin. He receives and makes it 7 for 7 from the circle.
Soviet Union scored 5 of the last 7 goals. And they have opened up a 6-goal lead. Goss to Buning. Buning has a shot at the goal. Jim Buning fires it in off the goalkeeper Shepenko and trickled in. It's 22-17.
Jim Buning has been concentrating during the game more on passing and defense and setting up the plays. Now he goes up with a big jump shot here, puts it in a short corner by the goalie.
22-17, less than 4 minutes to play. Soviet Union with the ball to Gopin. Gopin in the corner. Up save by Billy Kessler. Great save by Kessler. The United States comes back on offense. Carlson to Morava. Morava to Carlson. Round to the right-hand side to Buning. Buning, a great pass to McVeigh. The lob shot is good. A tremendous play by the U.S.
What a combination. Good stop by Billy Kessler. Quick pass off court. Jim Buning gets the pass here. Backhand pass to Joe McVeigh. Lob shot into the goal. Just drops into the far corner. Great play.
A tremendous game. It's 22-18. 3 minutes, 20 seconds to play. The U.S. has cut the lead down to 4. The Soviet Union with the ball.
Steps.
Dribbling in the middle.
Steps. The man traveled. The U.S. has the ball again.
Carlson with a fast break to Morava. Morava fires it in, but he was fouled. The U.S. will get possession of the ball. 22-18. 3 minutes to play in the game. The U.S. has the ball. Djokovic around to the right-hand side to McVeigh to Buning. Buning drops it off to Schneeberger, and he's knocked in the face. Obviously, a lot of contact. very physical sport.
Yes. I was watching Schneeberger there to see the extent of the injury, but he just got poked in the eye, and he's okay.
Rava to McVeigh. McVeigh, top of the key. Fires it in. Joe McVeigh with a great shot, and it's 22-19.
Another low shot from Joe McVeigh. He's usually a big jump shooter, and this he has gone twice low and has scored twice with beautiful low shots. Here another one. Goldie never saw the ball until it was by him.
22-19, 2 minutes, 23 seconds to play. Alexander Tushkin with the ball for the Soviet Union. In the corner to Gopin. Gopin has the shot off the crossbar.
Very good defense by Joe McVeigh. He almost drew the charge.
Gopin out front to Verodinko. Verodinko works the other side to Tushkin. Tushkin takes the shot and a goal. Alexander Tushkin scoring his 10th goal. 23-19. He is an excellent player.
Yeah, he's a newcomer on the Soviet team, and he surely is a reinforcement for this team.
Alexander Tushkin is 22 years old, 6'6", 205. Joe McVeigh with the ball for the United States, trying to get another scoring opportunity, working the pick with Greg Morava. Schneeberger fires it in, hits the top bar. Fighting for the rebound is Buning.
As the ball is alive as long as it's up in the air above the goal area. Both players have equal right to the goal, to the ball.
23-19, a minute 13 to play in the game. The Soviet Union with the ball in the lead. What has been an excellently played game. Novicki to Tushkin. Tushkin drops it off to Verodinko. He comes in, tries to get a shot, and we're going to have a foul.
Billy Kessler stopped it with his head to defer the first shot, but the defense had entered the goal area.
And
that's
a penalty shot coming up.
Reason for the penalty.
And who's going to take it? None else but Tushkin. Takes once, twice, this time Billy Kessler blocks it.
Billy Kessler, he has stopped penalty after penalty in each one of the games.
So the guy's human after all.
Here it is. He got first he faked right, he faked left, and Billy Kessler just got there with his foot save.
We're down to the final 30 seconds of the game. Soviet Union down quickly. In the corner it goes to number 11, Shevkov. And the Soviet Union will have the ball. But the United States has played very well, Peter.
This has been an excellent game. And just with a little bit more luck, it might have been... Actually, the difference was, as we have said all along, the excellent play of the circle runner of the Soviet Union. Otherwise, a very even game, very excellent game for the U.S. team.
The United States has never won a medal in major world competition, but again, they have never defeated Czechoslovakia, and they did that. And they also have a victory over Iceland, so they're looking very good. A nice save by Kessler. That's the end of the game, but a great game it was. The United States losing to the Soviet Union by the score of 23-19. It shows how far this sport has come in the United States to take the Soviet Union, the best team in the world, and play them to a 4-goal difference, Peter.
It's really, I mean, we have to be very, very pleased with our team. With a little bit more luck, we might have even won today. But it was a deserved victory for the Soviet Union with their very good defense and excellent circle runner play. But we're very proud of our team. We think that it bodes very well for the game against Poland, which is coming up, which, if we win it, will give us the silver medal in these games.
The United States still alive, having a chance for a medal. This is a round-robin tournament. They now stand with 2 victories and 1 loss. The final here, 23-19, the Soviet Union over the United States.
And back at the broadcast center to recap our day at the Goodwill Games. First, women's tennis. The United States won a gold medal, but it was a cinch to do it. We watched an all-American final, and Carolyn Kuhlman from USC in Lakeside Park, Kentucky, beat fellow American Beverly Bowes of Lubbock, Texas in straight sets to win the singles championship. That was in the Soviet Republic of Latvia. Back here in Moscow, the U.S. men's volleyball machine rolled on. They beat the Czechs 3 straight games. The Americans have yet to lose a game. Now, coming up tonight on our primetime coverage of the games with Bob Neal, the accent is on more high performance. The best figure skaters in the world will be at center ice. World champions Debbie Thomas and Brian Boitano head the list of world-class athletes in the skating exhibition. No judging, so the routines will be free, easy, and fun with loads of creativity. And speaking of artistic energy, we'll also be showing you the men's gymnastics individual apparatus finals. So, it looks like a night filled with stars, precision, performance, and personality. So long for now from Moscow, but the Goodwill Games continue.